In this lecture here, we're going to start talking about dividing polynomials. So there's going to be two methods I'm going to talk about for ways to tackle dividing polynomials, something called long division, you might remember from school. And then I'm also going to talk about something called synthetic division. And then we'll end this lecture talking about the remainder and factor theorems. All right, so here's what we're going to work through. So we're going to work through using long division to divide polynomials. Then we're going to talk about this thing called synthetic division to divide polynomials. We're going to evaluate a polynomial using the remainder theorem, and then we're going to use the factor theorem to solve polynomials. So I'm going to break this lecture up into 3 videos, okay? So this will be lecture number 1. I'm going to show you how to do long division in this video. Then I'm going to follow it up with another video on synthetic division. And then our last video is going to be talking about this remainder theorem and the factor theorem. Okay, so let's jump into long division here. Okay, so long division of polynomials. All right, so what I want to do is I actually want to show you an example like maybe from school. So suppose you had 227 divided by 5. Okay, the way you would set this up, and I'm not going to read through all of this because it seems a little wordy here. So I just want to show you how you would have done this long division. You would have taken this 5 is what's called the divisor. So you would have put 5. You would have set up your long division. And then the divide end is this 227. Okay, and then here's what you would have done. You would have said, okay, does 5 go into 2? No. Does 5 go into 22? Yes, it goes in 4 times. So then you go 4 times 5 gets you 20. And then you'd subtract that away. You would get 22 minus 20 is 2. Then you'd bring down this 7 and you'd say, okay, well, how many times does 5 go into 27? Well, it goes in 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. And you'd have a remainder. Okay, so 27 minus 25, is the remainder is 2. Okay. It's kind of the same process when you're doing long division, and I'm gonna leave these steps here for you on your own to read through. And what I want to do is I want to work 3 examples, okay, just so you can see how this is done, how you tackle this. Okay. All right. So suppose I give you this problem. Let's take x squared plus 8x plus 5 plus 15, excuse me. And let's divide it by x plus 5. Okay, how you tackle this, all right? You're going to set this up. So this right here, this x plus 5 is what we call the divisor. So you're going to take your divisor and then you're going to set up your long division. So you're going to take x squared plus 8x plus 15. All right, so here's what you do. You just look at the first term, okay? You look at this first term right here, x, and you say, okay, if I were to take x squared and divide it by x, what would I get? Well, I would just get x. So now, just like you did here, basically what you were saying is how many times does x go into x squared? It goes in x times. So, you know, just like how you would do here, you'd say how many times does 5 go into 22? It goes in 4 times. So now you're going to multiply. Okay, so you're going to go x times x gets me x squared. And now you're going to go x times 5 gets me 5x. And then what you're going to do is you're going to subtract. Okay, just like how you did here. You subtract it away. Subtract, subtract. So look what happens. You get x squared minus x squared, that goes away. And then 8x minus 5x, that just gets me 3x. Now you're going to bring down this plus 15. So then you start over. You're going to take 3x and divide it by x. Or basically another way you're going to look at it is to say, what am I going to multiply x by to get 3x? You're going to multiply by 3. So 3 times x gets me 3x. 3 times 5 gets me 15. And then when I subtract it away, 3x minus 3x is 0. 15 minus is 0. So this right here gets me x plus 3. So when you take x squared plus 8x plus 15 and you divide it by x plus 5, you get x plus 3. And you can check this, okay? the way you can check it is you would take this quotient that you got and multiply it by your divisor. And when you FOIL this out, you get x squared plus 5x plus 3x plus 15. You get back to what you had here. All right, so I know it seems a little confusing. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to do 2 more examples so you can kind of see this process. Okay? Let's take this one. Let's take x cubed plus 5x squared plus 7x plus 2. And let's divide this by, let's go x plus 2. Okay, so you're going to set up your long division. So you have x plus 2, and then you have x cubed plus 5x squared plus 7x plus 2. All right, so you're going to take x cubed, divide it by x. You just get x squared. So multiply. X squared times x gets me x cubed. X squared times 2 gets me 2x squared, excuse me. Now you're going to subtract. X cubed minus x cubed, gone. 5x squared minus 2x squared gets me 3x squared. Bring down the 7x. You're going to take 3x squared, divide it by x. What do you get? Well, you get plus 3x. So multiply. 3x times x gets me 3x squared. 3x times 2 here gets me plus 6x. And now we're going to subtract. So you're going to get 3x squared minus 3x squared goes away. 7x minus 6x, excuse me, just gets me x. And then I'm going to bring down the plus 2. And then look here. What's x divided by x? That's just 1. So 1 times over here. So you get 1 times x is x. And then 1 times 2. And that goes, and you got a remainder of 0 here. So when you divide this, you get x squared plus 3x plus 1. And it works out perfectly. Perfectly. All right, let's do one last one just so you can still kind of see this process. Suppose the problem looks like this. I want to take 6x cubed plus 17x squared plus 27x plus 21 divided by 3x plus 4. Okay, so look, you're dividing by this 3x plus 4. So this comes over here. And then you're going to set up your long division. And then you're going to have 6x cubed plus 17x squared plus 27x plus 21. All right, so to start, okay, take your 3x. What is 6x cubed divided by 3x? Well, that gets me 2x squared. So 2x squared times 3x gets me 6x cubed. 2x squared times 4 gets me plus 8x squared. So now I'm going to subtract. 6x cubed minus 6x cubed goes away. Let's see. 17x squared minus 8x squared gets me 9x squared. I'm going to bring down the 27. So what did now start over. So what is 9x squared divided by 3x? That gives me 3x. So 3x times 3x gets me 9x squared. 3x times 4 gets me plus 12x. Let me subtract. Notice how this is always happening. The 9x squared minus 9x squared goes away. 27x minus 12x gets me 15x. Bring down the 21. Now look, when you take 3x and divide it by, when you take 15x divided by 3x, you get just 5. So 5 times 3x gets me 15x. 5 times 4 gets me plus 20. Now notice something different happens here, okay? So when I subtract, I get 15x minus 15x goes away, and 21 minus 20, I have a remainder. So the way you would write this, you would say, okay, I'm going to take my quotient here, this 2x squared plus 3x plus 5. And the way you would write the remainder, you'd add it as a fraction over the divisor. So plus 1 over 3x plus 4. And that's how you would do long division. So I know it seems confusing and it's a little difficult, but you know, after you do some practice, you'll see that it's not too bad. And I'm actually going to follow this up now with another lecture coming up next on synthetic division, which can be easier in certain cases.